Hi everyone, and happy Thursday. We are back at the Fossil and Prairie Center because I was doing a little hike around looking at some fossils today and noticed that these warm temperatures and sunny days have brought out the wildflowers in the prairie just like they had brought out the ones in the woods. So I thought we would showcase them so that you can see that the prairie can be just as colorful as the woods depending on the time of year. So let us turn you around here. So you can see in this section here was actually burned this spring as prairie management. But we have some flowers coming up. So this one here looks a lot like one that later in the season everyone will be trying to stay away. This is not wild parsnip, it's actually heartleaf golden Alexander. So if you look here at the leaves, you can see how they're kind of heart-shaped. And it just has this short little flat flower to it, but it's kind of everywhere in here, really coming up, and you can see how everything that had burned is all greening up pretty quickly, especially after these rains. The next one here is this small little blue flower, and that's actually called blue-eyed grass. So you can see its leaf actually just looks like a blade of grass. Doesn't really have a tall stalk to it much. And it just gets this one single flower on top of the stalk. So it's kind of a subtle one, but as you see them in mass as we get down below, they can make not the impact of the bluebells, but a nice little blue impact to them. So we'll be walking down the trail here. And another one on this side that looks a lot like the heartleaf golden Alexander, but it's a little bit more of an orange tinge to it. And this is called puccoon. And so that is puccoon. It kind of has a ruffled look to the flowers. Those 5 petals are a little bit more ruffled than the typical flower. We have lots of violets, but these are not the common violet. If you look here on its leaf, it's a little bit more lobed, and that would be the prairie violet, which is actually the flower that is on Floyd County Conservation's logo. So that would be the prairie violet, and here's some more puccoon, also in another area that had been burned this spring. So it's kind of nice to see lots of flowers coming up. We're working on the trails from the winter erosion. There's lots of cars in the parking lot as people are getting out on these nice days to go fossil hunting. And I am very happy to see that even the cars are maintaining a social distance. It seems like they're parking every other spot. But it's great to know that people are getting out, enjoying the parks, enjoying the nice weather, at least today while we can, before we kind of cool down a little bit again. But this is a nice little spot to go fossil hunting. Obviously, the further you get away from the parking lot, a little bit better selection that there'll be. It's a nice flat area. And it has kind of a neat overlook as we come up here into the wind. I don't know if you've noticed on all the times we go outside here at the Fossil Park, there's always a wind blowing, which is why we have the wind turbine. Just a nice gradual slope here, a nice big flat area to bring kids or your family. And this little spot over here has never let me down. This is where I bring the preschoolers. And it seems like the closer the fossil hunter is to the ground, the smaller fossil that they can find. So let's see, as we sit here, how long it can take me to find a fossil. Oh, the sun came out. That always helps. You can kind of see the glistening of them. There's a couple here stuck in the rocks, but I always like to tell kids you can find a better specimen. You can find them separate, such as this one here with the brachiopod. Let's see what other ones we can find. Does anyone else see one as we're on here? Here's another brachiopod, kind of a smaller one or a piece of it. Remember, there are 40 species of brachiopods that have been identified, so you could have a whole handful of them, and everyone could be different. Caitlin, why is it always windy? I'm not sure. I think it's because of our location, having the center and the park on top of a hill. We seem to catch more of the wind. We don't have a lot of trees to block it, so that could be. I'm not quite sure, but it does seem like it is always windy out here. On the hot days, that is a good thing though, because that helps to cool us off. But that helps us with the wind turbine, and for that we're always making power. Here are the smaller ones. This is a stack of crinoids. Kind of see the rings there. Also called sea lilies. These are still in the oceans today, or ancestors of these kinds are in the oceans today. So you see, it doesn't take very long if you just sit and look at the rocks around you. You can find pretty quick. Here's even another brachiopod. So pretty easily you can find some fossils. An example would be, I've had my 95-year-old grandmother out here, and she's found fossils to take home with her. And I've had preschool classes, so any age in between you can come out and find fossils. So let's just go around this corner. There's another little prairie knob up here, and we'll see what kind of flowers are blooming here. There's lots of ducks and geese down in the quarry. Some of them are using the nest structures that we've put out for them. And it won't be long and we'll be seeing ducklings and goslings swimming behind their parents. So here you can see some more of the heartleaf golden Alexander and the blue-eyed grass. The heaviest fossil I have found. A few years ago, I had a second grade class that came out and found a snail that was the size of my fist. So that would be the heaviest and biggest fossil that I didn't find it. I was with them when they found it. I don't know if that counts, Josiah, or not. You'll have to tell me. So here you can see there's some people out fossil hunting. And then in front of us, you can see all of the blue-eyed grass. So you can see that even though it's small, it can be really pretty when it's all grouped together. And some of them even has more of a white tinge than the purple right beside it, and that's a different than the violet color. You can kind of see them all shaking in the wind. But yeah, you can see this hillside has a lot of the blue-eyed grass. So this must be the blue time of year, with yesterday's bluebells and today's blue-eyed grass. All right, thank you, Josiah, for counting that for me. I tried to get them to trade me for for it so that I could keep it, but unfortunately they wanted to keep it. And I say that was a few years ago. That second grader that found it would now be a senior in high school, so it has been a while. So as the weather gets nicer, I hope you guys all get a chance to come out and visit us. You can go fossil hunting, just hike the trails, bring your fishing poles and go fishing in the ponds. Hopefully, as things start to open back up. Be able to come out and have picnics. And just be able to spend the day. Yeah, the bluebells were really pretty yesterday. That's going to be an image that's going to stay in our mind, isn't it, Caitlin? But if you think the bluebells are pretty, let's go over the top of this hill. And the water in the quarry kind of has a pretty color to it. It's not actually the water, it's reflecting the clay, which is the mud at the bottom of it. But clay typically has a bluish green tinge to it. So when you put clear water on top of it, it makes the water look like it's bluish green, almost turquoise color. So we'll be able to see that as we come up over here. My secret spot for fossil hunting. If I told you guys where my secret spot was, then it wouldn't be a secret anymore, would it? But actually that first area that we went to is one of my favorite spots because you can kind of tuck down out of the wind on very windy days, so it's a good place to go. But yeah, do you see the color? And you can see how it's actually clear because the dark areas are going to be where there's plants growing, and the lighter areas are where it's just the mud. But you can see how it just reflects the green or the turquoise, and even as we get into the more open areas. We have lots of people ask us what we put in the water, and it's just reflecting the mud, so that's kind of unique. And then the red color that you see on the bank on the other side, that would be pieces of broken tile. So the mud in its raw stage or uncooked would be the bluish green, and then once that clay has been baked, when the brick and tile was in business, it turns to the red color. So that's how you can tell the difference between the pieces. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little hike with me. I know it's going to be cold this weekend, but hope you guys can get outside for a little bit, or definitely plan a visit when the weather gets warmer. And I will see you all next week. Have a great weekend and be safe. Bye.